The greatest Saint-Emilion Premier Grand Cru Classé you've never heard of? Probably this one. Trotte Vieille. Trotte Vieille. You know, this wine's been around for a long, long time. This is a classic Saint-Emilion estate, but a tiny one, and one that doesn't necessarily play the game. You know what I mean? They get out, but they don't get out a lot. It's a very quiet, humble, elegant estate in Saint-Emilion run by the Casteja family for a number of years now. And they just kind of go about their business of making great wine. And whether the press finds them or not in a given vintage, that's up to them. You know, this is almost like Honey Badger Saint-Emilion. You know, they literally don't care. They do their wine, they do it well, they do it in a classic style, and they just make gorgeous, gorgeous Saint-Emilion wines with insane breeding and elegance. So this time around, the 2022 could not be ignored. It is one of the finest Trotte Vieille ever produced, the finest one I've ever had for sure. And I'm pretty sure Tristan would tell you the same thing. He's not here today, but I'm sure he'd tell you the same thing. We were both immensely impressed with this wine out of barrel. And now we're going to see right now how it's doing out of bottle, because what we're hearing from the pundits is like, this wine is all that in a bag of chips. So Trotte Vieille, they are located pretty much on the coat, on the top of the coat there. As you make the turn, as you're heading east out of town, and you make that right turn to head to either Troplong Mondo or Pairings McCann, they'll be right on the corner there. And every time we pass this vineyard, it's gorgeous. And it's like, dude, we need to stop at Trotte Vieille sometime. We never get around to it. You know, part of our tasting schedule is always Troplong or Pairings McCann or Larcy Stukas, you know, one of the name wines. And we never stop at Trotte Vieille. And we've been remiss in doing that because I would really love to see the property. Because it's an absolutely unique property in Saint-Emilion, which you can't say that a lot. You know, a lot of Saint-Emilions kind of, you know, repeat. But in this case, Trotte Vieille is blessed with some insane vineyards. They have, I'm going to pour myself a little more because damn it, I'm worth it. They have the oldest Cabernet Franc in Saint-Emilion. Now, this is something very special and unique indeed, because in the early 50s, a punishing freeze, a deep freeze, destroyed most of the Cabernet Franc vines in Saint-Emilion, and there was extensive replanting. So most of the old vines of Cabernet Franc in Saint-Emilion are usually planted from the late 50s on. So you can get Franc there that's, you know, 60, 70 years old. That's not uncommon. But to get pre-phylloxera Cabernet Franc planted in the 1800s, you're looking at it. Now, of course, the whole wine isn't in form of this Cabernet Franc, but this small parcel of 120, 130-year-old, 140-year-old Cabernet Franc gives this wine a unique perfume and a unique character, distinctive from a lot of its Saint-Emilion counterparts. And a little more of a snapshot, a little more of a snapshot of time with this wine, which I absolutely adore. Great color, gorgeous nose, 50% Cabernet Franc here, 45% Merlot, and I think 5% Cabernet Sauvignon. I'm right. Lucky guess. Anyway. Oh, yeah. Franc's a big deal in Saint-Emilion now. Tristan has talked about it in some of these other pieces. Moving forward, Franc, because of climate change, handles the instabilities in the weather, I think, better than Merlot does, and also sets itself up nicely for warmer harvests. Merlot doesn't like the heat as much. Alcohol will spike. You'll get these jammy wines. You know, some of these wines from the 2000s, the Parker type wines, that's kind of bullshit, by the way, but I don't know what else to call them for you. You know, these really sizable Merlots harvested at 16% alcohol. Cabernet Franc kind of alleviates that, builds complexity into the wine, and a lot of the top estates in Saint-Emilion, Angelus, Pairings, Ozone, Trotte Vieille, Troplong Mondo, all of them are heading more towards Cabernet Franc in the blends. And this one's primarily Cabernet Franc, right? And with Cabernet Franc, I think you get a level of complexity in the aromatics you don't get with Merlot. There's more there in the nose. You get that like sweet tobacco leaf. You get a stronger sense of minerality. You get less of the dusty cocoa, you know, kind of the baker's chocolate character in the wines, but you get more stuff. And the Trotte Vieille has more stuff. And there's those 22s. This friggin' vintage, people, this is a unique vintage. This wine has such accessibility and silkiness of tannin, but shocking vibrancy in the mid-palate considering the heat of the vintage. This wine hums. It's so electric, and it delivers this like black cherry fruit, dead center of the palate. It just runs right through the center. Framed by that nice old viney, the material, the peripherals you get on your palate is that kind of old soul, classic old viney, yummy yet sturdy Cabernet Franc vibe on the palate, on the finish. Wow, this wine's exquisite. There's bigger wines in San Emilion, right? Ozone's a bigger wine, Pavi's a bigger wine. This wine has never been about bigger. I've had great Trotte Vieille wines from the 70s, and they're always about, you know, just not finesse, fineness, with plenty of weight. I mean, look at this wine. Friggin', this wine's huge, but sense of balance is impeccable here. These 22s are so exciting. They jolt your palate, but they jolt it like in this silky, deeply fruited sort of way where you're like, more. And the 22s give you this. That's astounding wines. Haven't, you know, every year we seem to talk about not having had a vintage like this. But in 18, 19, 20, you couldn't really say that. 18, 19, 20, they were all kind of like all great years, but kind of mirrored each other one way or another. 22 is its own delicious freak. These are phenomenal wines. Wow. 98 points from Suckling. Big score. Worth every friggin' point. Wow. That wine's so good. It's so fine. I know what you're thinking. Food pairings, right? You want to know what goes with the 2022 Trotte Vieille. Well, you know, the Castasia family helped you out. They helped you out. They did that for you on their own website. You can go look and just confirm, but this will be ideal with a horse steak, raviolis with cep mushrooms. You can only get those in France. Ooh, an ostrich stir fry. A can stuffed with foie gras. Or a veal fillet with girolle. Not smart enough to know what a girolle is, but I bet it's pretty good. What if you had all those in one night, huh? What if you started with the can stuffed with foie gras, Patrick, and then you went to the ostrich stir fry, follow that up with a horse steak, and then rattled it home with a veal fillet with girolle. Does it get any better? Does it get any better? It doesn't. So, the next time you put that menu together, this better be the GD wine on your table. If it's not, I'll be sorely disappointed. But if you want it, you better act fast. We have about 100 bottles of this at original opening price, $85 a bottle. 98 points, amazing wine. Must have, put it in your cellar tonight.